So I made it no secret at the top of this year that I completely exhausted and burnt out myself. So, as a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur, as a teacher, it can get really, really, really easy to be wrapped up in a lot of things at once. And essentially, that's what happened for me. And it's interesting because these were all blessings. So, at the top of 2025, over the course of 3 months, so first quarter, January, February, and March of 2025, I had 9 speaking engagements, and it was a mix of virtual and in person. So, in person was a blend of Mississippi, Atlanta, Texas, Tennessee. So, traveling to various speaking engagements. Plus, we were doing our 30-day plant based challenge that we do at the top of every year. And this year we had over 1,500 participants. So, that was a lot. Plus, we also, right after as the challenge ended at the end of January, we were rolling into a brand new cohort of our plant based coaching program, Farm to Table, where we enrolled over 30 something students in that. Plus, we had private clients, plus, we had our business accelerator, and all of this was happening at one time. We were making transitions with our team. And then, of course, you have the day to day running of the business, admin, operations, HR, human resources, and other projects, plus the continuing marketing and selling of products and services. And so all of that was happening for us in the first quarter of 2025. And I told you guys, I shared here on my YouTube page and with my audience a couple of months ago how that resulted in some serious burnout, right? And I learned 2 things from that experience. The first thing I learned from burnout was that burnout is a form of chronic stress, right? I didn't know that burnout would be considered chronic stress, but it really makes sense when you think about it, right? When we say chronic, we mean these prolonged, extended periods of time where, your body and your mind is under a lot of pressure, overwhelmed, pushing too hard, cortisol, adrenaline levels are high. A lot of things are happening physiologically, mentally, and emotionally for an extended period of time, and it's just not a sustainable pace, right? And so, as a result of a really, really busy first quarter of 2025, I experienced burnout, right? And it was like an exhaustion from the neck up. Physically felt great, but mentally, creatively, emotionally, it was a lot to be managing all of those things at once, the traveling, the speaking, and still having to run the day to day of the things that we offer. And so something super amazing happened, which is now we're moving into the end of 2025, a really busy third quarter and really busy fourth quarter. And I have the privilege of not recreating that scenario. And so what I thought it would be super cool for me to do was to share with you guys my burnout prevention plan for the remainder of this year. Because what we cannot do is make the same mistake that we made at the top of this year. So today I'm going to share with you that plan that I have to make sure I don't get back into a state of chronic stress, i.e. burnout, as an entrepreneur, as a leader who sells something that's in demand, right? We specialize in physical health. So we specialize in plant-based nutrition. We specialize in the elimination of chronic stress. And then we also help individuals start their own coaching and speaking careers. And those things are in demand. And so it's a great blessing. Opportunities are a great blessing. Speaking, teaching, clients are a blessing. But we also have to preserve ourselves in the midst of all of this. The second thing I learned from burning out the first half of this year, in addition to chronic stress, burnout is a form of chronic stress. I also learned that all stress is not caused by undesirable circumstances. All stress is not caused by undesirable circumstances. Some stress is caused by things that you want to do. A lot of stress can be caused by desirable circumstances. And so that was a huge, huge learning moment for me, because I always associated stress with things that we didn't want to do or circumstances that we didn't want to be in, right? Thinking about like relationship stress or career stress or financial stress. Never associated, stress with doing just too much of what you genuinely enjoy, right? You guys know I teach this concept of radical obedience. And so because I live my life radically obedient to God, doing what he's calling me to do, despite the presence of fear and uncertainty, I didn't even consider that can still cause burnout if you're not careful. So that was the second thing that I learned, is that all stress is not caused by undesirable circumstances. So we all need to be mindful, right? Whether we're in great relationships, we're in a great financial status, you love your career, that doesn't mean that you are free or immune to burnout. And so super huge lessons for me. Today, I'm going to break down my end of the year schedule for you guys that's still building out, actually, and tell you my plan for avoiding it. And I also want to share with you some of the top reasons why leaders burn out. So just in case you're in that circumstance, want to kind of give you a measuring stick for possibly avoiding the burnout, or if you're in the midst of it, what shifts you might need to make the adjustment. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's good to see everybody. What's up, Stacy? Oh, the Stacys are in here. What's up, Wanda? Good morning. What y'all drinking on? So, it's tea time, y'all. I got my tea in one of my favorite mugs. So this is my mug that I got in Barcelona a couple years ago. I was traveling Spain. I did Madrid and I did Barcelona. And I went to this super dope museum. And I got this mug out of the museum shop because it was kind of crafted and inspired by the artist who was responsible for the museum. His name is Baudi. And so this is like one of my favorite mugs. I don't drink out of it often because I consider it like, I consider it to be like precious, right? So I don't drink out of it often, but I'm drinking out of one of my favorite mugs from Spain today. I am actually treating myself. I'm having black tea today. Now, y'all know I usually don't do a lot of caffeine, but I'm drinking black tea today. And that's what I'm sipping on. What y'all sipping on? Let me know in the chat what y'all drinking on today so we can get this conversation and talk about burnout prevention. Stacey said, is it me? I always feel this time of the year it calls for a reset. Okay, reset. We love a good reset, honey. We love a good reset. Good morning, Shaquanda. What's up? Okay, first of all, Stacey, so fancy. Blended watermelon. Okay, what does that even mean? Just like straight blended watermelon by itself, or did you add some to it? You better get them antioxidants in. Listen, watermelon is one of the most hydrating fruits that exists, right? It's almost 100% water. And it is so hydrating and refreshing. I think one of the saddest parts about this time of the year is that watermelon is going out of season. Okay, boo. You know what I'm saying? Boo. Dr. Andrea, you should have already had your tea ready. She said, let me go make my green tea with fresh ginger. Yes, please. Can we get some anti-inflammatory tea up in here? Lorene drinking on moringa tea. Come on, that's so medicinal. Love good moringa. Stacy got warm lemon water. Let's go. Hydrating. So I had my warm lemon water first. So I already drunk 28 ounces of that. I did that before I went on my workout today. And so now I'm treating myself to tea. But y'all know, those guys who know y'all take our 30-day challenge, we do that at least 25 ounces of water within the first 30 minutes of waking up. So good job, those of you who already hit that water, honey. Let's go. I love it. This is so great. So super excited to talk about my burnout prevention plan. So here's what I want to do first. I thought it would be dope for you guys to hear what could potentially cause me burnout. I want to run down my schedule for the remainder of this year. And this schedule, my schedule for the remainder of 2025 is forever evolving. It's forever a work in progress, right? So I'm not even sure, well, I'm actually 100% sure that this isn't the final schedule. But let me tell you guys why I had to sit down and come up with this burnout prevention plan for the remainder of this year, because things are picking up like crazy, right? So you guys know I speak a lot, and I speak a lot on stress, and I speak a lot on taking care of our bodies and our minds by using food as medicine. But for the next several months, listen to all the stuff that I have to do, and so you guys can better understand why I need a burnout prevention plan. So it's actually starting today. So this afternoon, I'm speaking for the National Black MBA Association, talking about chronic stress, right? And then I actually have an appointment with someone else to potentially speak in September for the Black Women in Clinical Research Organization. So I'll be meeting with her today. But then Next week, I'm speaking for Intel on September 3rd. Now, today's talk, as well as next week's talk for Intel, those are both virtual, right? And so September 3rd, speaking for Intel. Then on September 13th, I'm in Midland, Georgia, speaking at the Unite Women's Conference in Midland, Georgia. I think about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Atlanta. Then the following weekend on September 13th, I'm in Atlanta proper speaking at the Anchored event with my coach ET and the whole ETA family. Then the following weekend, I'm in Lansing, Michigan, speaking at APOC Church. And then immediately following that talk at APOC on September 27th, I have to do a week-long health series for the church, September 28th to October 3rd, teaching them how to identify and eliminate chronic stress. Then on October 1st, I'm speaking for Intel again, right? They booked me for 2 events this fall talking about stress. So I'm speaking for Intel again on October 3rd. That's a virtual event. And then on October, I'll be in Arizona from October 2nd to October 9th. So I'm there. I'm at a retreat from October 2nd to October 8th, but then I'm staying 2 extra days because one of my team members, our admin, she lives in Arizona. So I'm going to spend some time with her. And so I will be in Arizona until October 10th. And then I think I'm back in Texas. And then from October 18th to October 22nd, I'm speaking at the Girlfriends Getaway in Jamaica. Super excited about that. Myself, Brandy Harvey, and the founders of Girl Track will all be speaking in Jamaica. But then on October 22nd, I'm flying to Atlanta one night, and then I'm going to go from Atlanta to Allentown, Pennsylvania, because I'm speaking at the Poconos from October 24th to the 26th for another retreat, right? Then October will also be the first month that we begin to prep for our next 30-day vegan, salt, oil, and sugar-free challenge. So I'm doing a prep class for the challenge in October, another one in November, another one in December. And December is the big push in the run-up to the next challenge, which is going to kick off January of 2026. So do you guys hear why I need a burnout prevention plan? So much traveling, so much speaking, right? And it's all blessings, right? God is so good. And in the midst of all of that's just my speaking schedule. In the midst of all this, right, we're currently doing our beta group for our chronic stress focus group. Plus, we're opening up the doors for Clarity, our community dedicated to eliminating chronic stress. Those doors will be opening next month in September. And then we, of course, have to run the day-to-day. Plus, I have a team of 5 that, I, of course, have to manage, engage with, and train them and make sure they're good as we prepare to launch Clarity. So I just needed y'all to hear why I needed a burnout prevention plan, honey. I'm jumping from one city to the next, right? Atlanta, Midland, Georgia, Lansing, Michigan, Jamaica, the Poconos. Then I have a bunch of virtual stuff in between. Not to mention, I still got to be here with y'all every Monday morning at 10 a.m. EST. We still got to drop a podcast every Monday on the Plant Protocol podcast. And I still got to manage to get my workout in, eat my plants, drink my water, mind my business, right? Spend time with my loved ones and all of that stuff. So I still got the personal stuff, personal responsibilities. The other big lesson that I learned from burnout, and as I started thinking about the end of this year and what I needed to do to avoid burnout again, the hardest thing about being a health coach is having to take your own advice. The hardest thing about being a health coach is I can't in good conscience come on here every week and teach you guys how to be the best version of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I'm not doing everything I'm asking you guys to do. So I still got to eat my plants every day, get my workouts in, get proper rest, all of the things. And so I wanted to share that little snapshot into my 3rd and 4th quarter for you guys. And now let me break down why some leaders burn out. And then we're going to end, and I'm going to tell you about 5 things I'm doing to avoid burnout, even though I'm going to be super busy for the next couple of months, right? But as I was thinking about, I know I have a lot of leaders, executives, other entrepreneurs in my audience, and I want to make sure that you guys, number one, understand the danger of burnout. And I want to make sure we're labeling it properly. Burnout is a form of chronic stress. Burnout and overwhelm is a form of chronic stress. And so when we are constantly putting our bodies into a state of overwhelm and stress and exhaustion, it can have a long-term impact if we don't stop the cycle. I don't know about some of you guys, but I have definitely been cycling through periods of burnout and overwhelm for the last several years. And unbeknownst to me, now that I have the right language to use and understand that it's a form of chronic stress, I'm even more adamant about making sure I have solid plans in place to avoid it altogether, because you guys know chronic stress kills. And I used to foolishly believe that you only got stressed out from undesirable stuff, right? Like, foolish. So let's get into it. Terrence, what's your question? Terrence says, what's the hardest part of doing the things that you have to do? Let me think about that and then answer that in a little bit, Terrence. Oh, I already got it. I already know what it is. Terrence, I think the hardest part about doing all the things that I have to do is peopling, because I'm so introverted. And so the thing that kind of zaps me the most is having to engage so much with people, even though I genuinely enjoy it and I've trained my alter ego, right? So when I hit the stage, or when I'm teaching a workshop, or like I said, I'm about to do a week-long series for APOC, like now I'm looking forward to it. But I also, and I'm going to talk about this a little more when I go over my burnout prevention plan. Now that I know that all of the peopling and the engagement with people really takes a lot of energy from me, I now have parameters in place, right? So it's part of my plan. But I will say that's the hardest part. The part that used to be really difficult was all the creativity that was required, because I don't have cookie cutter talks or lectures that I do, right? So I don't just pluck one out of, a library and say, I'm just going to run this back. Like, I like to study the audience that I'm presenting for. I like to study their needs, and I like to create from scratch every time. Like, I like new, exciting content. Of course, a lot of it, some things don't change. Science doesn't change. So there's going to be things that I have to repeat because it's just science or it's just facts. But I also, the thing that used to be really hard about having this many engagements back to back was having to create content for them, right? Because every audience is different. Every organizer might want you to focus on something slightly different and things like that. But that part I enjoy, as long as I make space to give me divine downloads so I can craft my messages properly. So now the hardest part is making sure that I properly manage my energy around all the engagement that I have to do, because I'm naturally introverted, right? So I would say that's the toughest part now. That was a great question, Terrence. Okay, so here's some common reasons why leaders burn out. And I think I have about, maybe 4 or 5 that I want to share with you guys. And the first one is, and this was one for me, right? I've been a victim of this for sure. But the first reason that a lot of people burn out is because of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So a lot of times, especially when you're a speaker or a teacher like me, and you have a message and you're passionate about it, you want to get it in front of as many people as possible. You want to be in front of as many audiences as possible. You want to be in front of as many diverse audiences as possible. And then this one for me, you want to get your reps in. Like, I'm so pressed about being a really good speaker, presenter, that I hate missing out on opportunities to do it, because I feel like, man, that's another rep that I could have got in to just refine my craft. It makes me think of, so this is how I think about it, right? When it comes to FOMO, when it comes to speaking and opportunities, because we could avoid burnout if, I know one way that I can have less engagements is if I did less stuff for free. Right. Or if I only set my price at this, and if I don't go below that, right, I could actually take some stuff off my calendar. But I like to do in-kind stuff for some organizations because, number one, they need the content and they need the help. But the other way I look at this is, if I decide to do a complimentary speaking engagement for an organization, I compare it to comedians who are about to go on a big stadium style tour. So one of the things that I know, I like studying comedians because I just like their presentation and their delivery and the art form, right? So I remember listening to like Kevin Hart, and I heard um, Dave Chappelle say this as well. When they are about to go on a big giant tour, like a big stadium tour, selling, thousands and thousands of tickets, one of the things they do to test their material is they start working the smaller comedy clubs again, right? So they go back to like what is it, like a really popular one, the Comedy Store in New York, right? Like they start doing the small clubs again. So they will pop up and the small neighborhood comedy clubs, the comedy club won't make an announcement about it. Like you just got to happen to be there that night. And then Kevin Hart would just come through and do a set. Dave Chappelle would just come through and do a set. I stole that from them. Like, so that's part of the reason why I do a lot of like private, smaller gigs, because I just want to test my material before I get in front of the bigger audiences. And so that's also part of the reason why FOMO has historically been contributed to my overwhelm and my burnout, because I want to I don't want to miss the opportunity to work my craft and in front of real people. Like it's one thing to just practice privately, but this is my version of like doing the small neighborhood comedy club so I can take my stuff to the bigger audiences. So FOMO and the fear of missing out on some type of opportunity or maybe even money or whatever it is one reason sometimes we get burnt out as leaders and entrepreneurs. We don't want to miss out on opportunity. We don't want to necessarily miss out on money. Or, sometimes we get shiny object syndrome and we like, man, this idea just sounds too good not to pursue, or just sounds too good not to go after. And so that FOMO will get us, right? And so sometimes if you've been a victim of FOMO, which has caused your overwhelm, you're going to have to reel it in. That's one of the things I'm trying to get better at, is when I get inquiries or people who want me to speak and teach, I have to make sure every time I'm managing my energy and being really honest about what I have the capacity to do or not to do. Right. And so, for example, the gig that I'm doing today for the National Black MBA Association, when she first reached out to me, she wanted me to come to Charlotte, right? Can you get to Charlotte? Now, mind you, she asked me to speak less than 10 days ago. And she's like, can you get to Charlotte, North Carolina? Because they're having the event at this wonderful country club, like this golf country club. It looks really nice. Send me pictures. I'm like, oh, this is upscale. This is my vibe. Like it's really giving front row behavior. And I'm like, oh, I can see myself in some pumps and a little dress. And I'm like, nope, 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 nope. It is too soon. That is too soon. You cannot up in your whole schedule to try and get to Charlotte in like a week. And so we reconfigured the whole thing and decided I'm just going to speak virtually, right? But it's things like that, things that just come up at the last minute. And I'm like, oh, this is super dope. And then the organization, I'm like, the MBA Association, they're my people. I remember how stressed out and tiring it was when I was getting my MBA. And I know what it's like to be Black and ambitious. Right. And so, so this is one of those examples where I had to really be careful about managing my energy. So FOMO is a big one. The next reason that a lot of people burn out is because of people pleasing. People pleasing. People pleasing. I'm going to say it again because some of y'all need to hear it 1,000 times. Trying to make everybody happy. You have a team that you want to make happy. You have family that you want to make happy, right? Maybe you have, I know for me, I have a mentor and a coach, right, that I want to be proud of me. And so when people pleasing goes too far, because I actually believe in a healthy form of people pleasing, meaning I believe there's some people in our life that we should actually be trying to please. And I don't know. I know people pleasing gets a bad rap, just like stress gets a bad rap, just like inflammation gets a bad rap. But a little bit of all of those things is good for us. Like a little bit of stress, acute stress can be healthy. Inflammation is a great thing because without it, we wouldn't know when we cut our finger or sprain our ankle. Like we need some inflammation to tell us where to direct our attention. And the same thing with people pleasing. I believe if you make the right choices in choosing who is worthy of being pleased, God is first, of course, right? Then I believe people pleasing can actually work in our benefit if it is a healthy if it is a healthy type of people pleasing. But we know the overwhelming majority of us, our people pleasing is unhealthy, and that's what causes burnout. Like, we don't want to be perceived a certain way when we don't show up the way society expects us to, especially if you're a leader who's a woman, as a wife or as a mother. I was just coaching a client last week, very successful entrepreneur, and she's texting me from the airport. She's traveling between gigs, and I'm coaching her in her health right now. And she's like, my baby woke up at 2 a.m. calling for me, and I'm dealing with mom guilt. Right. And so you have all of these competing priorities at any given moment, and that can be really tough, right? With deciding what should get your attention and when. And so when you're trying to maintain a label of like great mom, great partner, great friend, great daughter, great kid, plus a great CEO or entrepreneur, plus a great speaker or teacher or coach, it's a lot. And at any given moment, you have to be wise about who you're going to please. So excessive people pleasing is also a cause of burnout. Malika said I can relate to that one. Oh, I think Malika was talking about FOMO. But Stacy said people pleasing, yes. Amen. Number 3, the third reason a lot of us burn out is because of poor delegation and the inability to trust others. Poor delegation and/or the inability to trust others with responsibility. Guys, we are communal, and we are meant to be interdependent on one another. We have to stop trying to do it all because we want it done our way. We have to stop. We have to stop. So a lot of us have been guilty of once upon a time claiming that we don't have help. A lot of us have been guilty of once upon a time, complaining about all of our responsibilities and all the things that we have to do. However, many of us are lying. It's not that we don't have help. It's that we're not surrendering to the help that we have because we want things done a certain way. We want them done in a certain time frame, and we want them done the way we would do them. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you know this for sure when you have a team or an assistant or somebody that's helping you. When you outsource something to someone that you have been doing yourself in your business, and they just have a different approach and a different way of doing things, that can be a tough adjustment. Same thing goes with your family, right? There's a certain way that you do things, and your partner wants to help. Your children want to help. Like my mom, she wants to help, and I had to, she'll be like, where are you speaking at, Lisa? I'm going to come. I'm going to help you set up. And I have to control my control when people want to help me, right? It's not that I don't have help. It's that I don't have a second me that I'm complaining about. But once we finally embrace the fact that you are not going to get a second you, but that doesn't mean that you don't have help, we can stop being so stressed out. Right? We want people to do things exactly the way we would do them. We've habituated ourselves to the things that we do, and we want it to look a certain way. Everybody don't load the dishwasher like you. Everybody don't wash clothes like you. Everybody don't write emails like you. Everybody don't answer phones like you. Everybody don't close deals like you. That doesn't mean you don't have help, and it doesn't mean they can't get it done in an excellent way. We got to become better delegators, and we have to start trusting others with responsibilities. If not, welcome to a life of burnout, boys and girls. Stacey Washington said guilty as charged. Don't say nothing else, Stacey, because everything you say will be held against you in a court of burnout. You hear me? So we have to become better delegators. And when I go through my burnout prevention plan, I'm going to tell you guys one of the things I'm doing to become a better delegator. But y'all have help. Y'all got help. Man, people be asking us. I know for sure, especially Black women, like people will offer, and it's almost our automatic response to just be like, no, I'm good. No, I got it. No, thank you. No, it's not. I can't think of anything you can do for me. Meanwhile, we got about 18 million things we need done for us. Like nobody's gonna make an appointment like you. But yet and still, we have to start accepting the help that we actually have around us. Okay? We have to. All right. So, exactly. Josh said they might do it different. It could end up being better. Facts. But when we don't give people a chance because we just want everything to be done the way we want them done, then we really risk burnout. But we also risk handicapping the people that want to help us. Right. And we can actually do damage to the relationship, whether it's with a team member or family member, by not allowing them in. Right. And so that's something that I have to work on as well. Two more reasons people burn out, and then I'll run through my prevention plan. Time versus task management. That means most of us are only accustomed to time management. So, time management happens after you've made a commitment to something. Time management is a phenomenal skill to have. It's so necessary. You have to be a good steward of your time. However, one of the things that increases the chances of burnout and chronic stress is if you've only mastered managing your time and you haven't mastered managing your task. So, time management is what happens after you have said yes to a bunch of stuff. So, earlier in this episode, I ran down for you guys my schedule for the remainder of 2025, right? That all of that that requires proper time management. Now, task management happens before you give the yes. So, task management is when you've mastered the art of assessing your creative, your physical, and your energetic capacity before you make another commitment. So, time management happens after you've already committed to a bunch of stuff. Task management happens before you give the commitment. So most people, they have only been taught time management and not task management. Task management says you're not a yes man or you're not a yes woman, but you're actually really, really wise about what you need and when you need it and what you truly have the capacity for. Because not only am I committed to a life of radical obedience, I'm committed to excellence. And when you live with a spirit of excellence, you understand that if you commit to something that you can't fully deliver on, you're going to compromise the excellence of that delivery, right? And so task management is what happens before the yes. Time management is what happens after the yes. That makes sense, y'all? Okay. So super, super important. Definitely increases the risk of burnout if you're just like, I'm going to say yes to everything. I want to people please. I don't want to let anybody down. And then I'll figure it all out after the fact. And then you're just laying in bed, catatonic, staring at the ceiling, wondering what the heck have you done, right? Okay. So the final reason that leaders burn out is not trusting God. This is a faith move. Being able to navigate a really busy season and a lot of responsibilities at one time seamlessly, or what I call in flow, is an act of faith. If I can flow, matter of fact, y'all gonna watch me flow between all of these speaking engagements and virtual workshops and training and teaching and coaching that I have to do for the next several months, and I'm going to do it in flow. I am determined to do it in flow, but you can only get in flow if you have mastered trusting God, right? Making sure you understand that no matter what, you are not at the helm of this thing, right? I am God's, I'm on the passenger side and I'm letting him take the wheel. And so that means like going to sleep and letting some things be undone because I'm going to prioritize the fact that I'm tired. Right? That means not skipping a workout or not skipping a meal because I all of a sudden believe I'm too busy to take care of the one body and the one mind that got me the opportunity in the first place. Right? Trusting God looks like saying yes to that friend who wants to go out to dinner because you're in town instead of deciding that your relationships don't need to be, you can't afford to pour into them this season because you're too busy. right? It is trusting God means I get to do all the things I need to do, plus the things I want to do, because I have this trust that all things will work out no matter what. I'm not going to feel pressure to overcommit to work responsibilities and undercommit to familial and spiritual responsibilities, right? And so trusting God is a skill set that has to be mastered. It's not something you should be turning on or off, but it's something that we should always be practicing. And so we've been doing these plans in the Bible app focused on trusting God and really learning what it means to trust God. And it's really an act of faith, right? Because busy is a blessing, but burnout is not. And so we have to know the difference between the two. So that concludes the reasons why we might burn out. Let me give you guys finally my burnout prevention plan for the remainder of the year. So I told you guys my schedule. Now I want to share with you what I'm doing specifically. And a lot of this is, of course, really piggybacking off the reasons I just listed. So a lot of it is some of the same stuff, but let me go through it. You guys take notes. Wanda said, ouch, surrender. Man, that surrender is a beast. Let me tell you something. Surrendering is a beast, but we got to do it, y'all. Okay, so burnout prevention plan. Here's the very first thing I'm doing to make sure I'm good. Planning off days around high travel, high creativity, and high peopling. So what do I mean by that? So I told you guys earlier, Terrence asked me a super dope question. What's the hardest thing about doing everything I have to do? And I told Terrence that it was probably the peopling, just because I'm naturally an introvert. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking at my schedule. So what I'm trying to do is every day that I have to speak, especially if it's in person. The virtual stuff is not so bad at all. But if it's in person where I'm going to be speaking and then engaging with a lot of people throughout the day or throughout the event, throughout the weekend, like for example, I'll be in Jamaica speaking from October 18th to the 22nd. I'll be in the Poconos speaking from October 24th to the 26th. So when I have to speak at retreats where it's like multi-day events, multi-speaking, having to do a lot of peopling, I'm planning downtime, meaning nothing on my schedule, ideally the day after the event ends, right? So giving myself that time to refuel. Like if you're naturally extroverted, you probably don't need this as much. I mean, I know everybody can get burnt out from people and no doubt about it, but introverts, we really got to be intentional, right? And so I am literally looking at my travel schedule, and when I have to be really creative, when I have to do a lot of peopling, and when I have to travel a lot, I'm taking that time right after, and like even moving something I would have never done before, which is if I have like a standing client appointment on that day, I'm even requesting, can we move your day this week? Right? Because I want to just do better of being in flow for the rest of this year. And so scheduling time to just be in silence or be alone or, be with my significant other or whatever it is, where it's just like super chill. And I am being intentional about refueling, right? Refueling. So that's the first thing I'm doing. Josh says in person and had to give a hug or kiss a baby. Josh, let me tell you something. I'm talking about stress. You hear me? Kissing, hugging, fist bumping, answering questions. I love it all. God is good. They're all blessings. Okay. The second thing I'm doing, my burnout prevention plan, and y'all should already know this one is on the list 100%, which is my diet and my exercise. No days off. I'm being super serious about not just working out, but doing more intense workouts during this time, actually, right? So really making sure that I'm locking in when I exercise. I'm being in the moment. I'm taking that time. Like the gym for me is also like quote unquote office time, right? So that's the time where, because when that blood gets flowing, you get way more creative. God gives you divine downloads. You just don't want to miss them. I never want to miss God's divine downloads. So being super intentional about my exercise, number one, because it's one of the best ways to be creative. So because I'm going into a super high creativity season where I have to create talks and lectures and curriculum for workshops that I'm doing, then I really need the divine downloads to flow. So I can't afford to miss a workout because then I run the risk of missing like that creative juice. And the other reason my workouts are so important, because I'm about to hit these stages. Don't play with the body, yaddy, yaddy. So it's got to be on, right? Everything's got to be on. We ladies, we do not need to get on anybody's stage with any type of body insecurity. I need to feel good on how I look on camera. Like next week, not even next week, Lord have mercy, in 2 days, I'm going to be on a podcast, and it's a video podcast. And so like that's going to live on the internet forever. And so I got to make sure I look good. When I look back at the video, when I watch the replay, when the organizer sends me my talk from these in-person conferences, I need to make sure everything flows. And so of course I'm not missing a workout because I want to be in the best shape ever. And then the other reason is just the toll that traveling can take on you, right? And so living out of hotels, on planes, flying, and mine is international. So going out the country, coming back in the country next month, I just want to make sure that if I got to run for a flight, I'm not out of breath, right? I have to make sure if I got to be in the airport for hours because something happens, I got to be in shape. I got to be ready to do it. Plus, I'm a woman traveling alone. I might have to outrun somebody. I don't know. You never know how in shape you got to be and for what. And so ain't nothing about to catch me slipping, okay? And so we got to be in shape physically and mentally. And then my diet, right? So you guys already know I don't eat any refined sugar. You guys know I'm already plant-based. Don't eat any animal products. I'm super serious about the quality of my mind as I go into a creative season. And so my diet is playing a huge part in my burnout prevention plan, because I don't fuel up with dirty energy, like I don't drink coffee or energy drinks or any of that stuff. I don't do any synthetic powder. I don't do supplements or pre-workout stuff, anything that can compromise the health of my heart, of my kidneys, of my mind, things, food dyes and MSG and all the stuff that causes hyperactivity in the brain that would take me out of flow, right? That would take me out of flow. Super important. So I'm eating my plants, I'm eating my berries, I'm drinking my water, and I'm being very intentional about making sure that the people that have booked me to speak and teach for their audiences are going to get the absolute best version of me, because I'm not dealing with brain fog. And so when they ask me questions or when I create my talk for them, they're going to get my best. They're going to get excellence, because my mind is creating from a clean place, right? So I'm not, takeout food, junk food, all that grease, not happening. Super important. And Shaquanda, very great point. She says it helps your immune system too. Absolutely. Because if I'm shaking hands and kissing babies and being in hotel rooms and on these airplanes, honey, immune system has to be on defense mode. So we can't afford any slip ups. We got to be the best version of ourselves as we show up. So that's such a good one. Okay. The next part of my burnout prevention plan is I'm looping in my inner circle to shield me. So I have 2 people that are very close to me who I've already told them point blank, I do not 100% trust myself yet to not be burnt out and overcommit to something. And so I have people who I have entrusted with my own burnout prevention plan and told them, like, I need you to help me, right? And so I'm activating my white women tears, okay? And so I turned my damsel in distress all the way on, honey. And I'm like, yo, help me, help, I've fallen and I need your help getting up, right? So I'm activating my white women tears and leaning fully into my femininity and my softness and my damsel. And I'm like, I need you to help me not redo what I did at the top of this year. And so asking for protection. So instead of just being like, I got it, I can figure it all out, I'm just like, yo, I need you to check in with me, make sure that we don't do a part 2 of the first quarter of 2025. And so I've already told the people closest to me that I love and who are on my team and who that protect me that I need your help not getting burnt out, right? And so that's super important, right? There's power in asking for help. Y'all know that, of course, right? But did you know there's power in asking for help before you even need it? Ooh, those good white women tears right there. They salty, right? Like, oh, who asked for help before they fall? Like, I might fall, so just staying right here. You know what I'm saying? So yes, honey. So I'm looping in my inner circle. Like, I don't need y'all to see me as strong. I don't need y'all to see me as super tough and all of this. I need you to see me as a damsel who might end up being in distress. Okay. Josh said white women tears will get you all the help and will. Okay. And so as soon as they start packaging them and selling them, I'm buying premium for them, honey. I'm keeping me some white women tears on standby. Okay. So that's my next one, looping in my inner circle, asking for help before I need it. I think I got two more for you guys. The other thing I'm doing for burnout prevention going into the end of this year is I am precision level planning, including my personal appointments. And so before it would just be like, okay, I'll figure this stuff out as I go. But now I'm looking all the way to October. I'm like, what city am I going to be in? Who doing my hair? Who doing my nails? I'm looking at all of the personal things I have to plan out. I'm looking at my travel schedule and being very precise, like super precise. Like I'm looking at, like I look at the times I book my flights and I'm like, okay, if I get there that late, then it's gonna mess up my sleep, and then that's gonna be compromised. So I'm, for example, not purchasing plane tickets, or if an organizer is buying my flight, like I'm demanding that things are done in a certain way so that it doesn't compromise my ability to rest, my ability to recover, depending on what I have to do or where I have to be next. Like, for example, so I'm in Jamaica, October 18th to the 22nd, right? And then a client of mine who booked me to speak in the Poconos, I was telling her, well, I'm in Jamaica until the 22nd, and she needs me in the Poconos on the 24th, right? And so she's like, okay, so I got your flight. I'm gonna pay for that. I'm gonna pay for your room and all that. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, but I'm gonna be coming from Jamaica, right? And so we were looking at the flight cost, and she was like, that's kind of out of my budget. It's almost $200, just $2,000 for just a flight. And she was like, why don't you do this? You know, because she lives in Atlanta. She was like, I'll fly from Jamaica to Atlanta. You can stay with me a night in Atlanta. I'll fly you from Atlanta to the Poconos and then back to your home city or whatever, right? And so I'm organizing everything, even the travel, with such precision to make sure that there's enough downtime in between everything so that I still get to get in a good meal, maybe get in a good walk or workout, rest, recalibrate my notes and my thoughts. So precision level planning, right? It's no longer about what's the cheapest of everything. It is, what schedule do I need to feel my best? Right? What time do I need to get in there? Like, can I just get a direct flight if possible? Like, what's the nearest city? And then when it comes to hotels, everything is like precision level planning. And that's really important when it comes to my team, making sure they know where I'm going to be and when and what I might need. Right? And so the planning of all of this is being very intently, and I'm doing it with people instead of just figuring it all out myself. So very important. Which brings me to the next one, which is about team, which is training my team and delegating. Listen to this. Write this one down. Here's the next one in my burnout prevention plan. I'm training my team and delegating like someone who's okay with things not being done exactly how I would do them. Some of y'all need to hear that again. I've already, before all this stuff done kicked off for the end of this year, I've already decided, somebody say decided. Look at your neighbor and say decided. I've already decided that I'm okay with things not being done exactly how I would do them. Right? So I'm telling my admin, I'm telling Tiff, like, okay, you got to make sure the podcast email goes out every week. You got to make sure my Monday Live goes out every week. I need you to make sure my review form goes out after every single speaking gig. We need all that administrative stuff, right? And I've already decided that I'm okay with her doing things the way she needs to do them, as long as they're done within our parameters, right? Within our standard operating procedure. There y'all go. You gotta decide ahead of time that I'm delegating. With delegation, comes another human who has their own pace, right? Who has their own talent and skill sets, who has their own life. So I'm going to give her the deadline of when things need to be done. I'm going to make sure she has as much template and directions as possible. I've already started training my team, all of my coaches. I have 3 coaches that'll be working inside of Clarity. I have an admin inside of Clarity, and she's doing some of my personal admin stuff. I have a brand manager, shout out to Kiwi, who's working on a big project we're doing right now. And I meet with everybody every week. I meet with Kiwi twice a week. I meet with Tiff once a week. My coaches that I train that work for us, I meet with them once a week. Everybody is in training right now for this next season. And so the when you become a leader and you have people who report to you, your customer quickly shifts from the external to the internal. So my priority customer now is my team, and then our clients are next, right? But my priority is with the people who are working with our clients, working with our customers. And so the training of the team is top priority, and the delegation is top priority, right? And the deciding that I'm okay with things not being done exactly how I would do them is one of the best burnout prevention strategies you could ever adopt. Just know that it can get done. It can get done differently, and that's okay. You baking a cake and you used to putting the flour in the pan first, but instead they like to put the baking soda and the baking powder in first, and you cringing. Just let them do it. Let's just see what happens. Because you stressed out. You can't afford to be stressed out anymore. Yes, thank you, Wanda. Thank you for that language. No micromanaging. No micromanaging. And people make mistakes, right? And so as I'm training somebody on our team, I've been training them for a couple of weeks. They've made a couple mistakes. Guess what? I'm deciding that mistakes are okay. Come on now. That's a heck of a decision to make ahead of time. Mistakes are okay. Incompetency is not, but mistakes are okay, right? And so I've also brushed off the mistakes that have been made because I know that comes with building a great team, right? Amen, Josh. As long as they don't put white sugar in it, we super Gucci, because what is you doing? That was not in the recipe. Are you trying to kill me? Anyway, so the final thing, then I got to get off here, that I'm doing as part of my burnout prevention plan is prioritizing pleasure. So in the midst of all this, I told you guys I'm going to be in Arizona from October 2nd. I think I'm flying in, and the retreat is from October 3rd to October 7th. But then I'm going to stay for 2 more days because one of my team members lives in Arizona. And so I want to get some quality time in with her. Anytime I'm in one of my team members' city, I like to spend time with them. So a few weeks ago, I was in New York. And so I spent some time with our Coach Carmel, took her out to dinner. And so I think, again, because our team becomes our number one customer when we're leaders. And so anytime I'm in one of their cities or close by, I like to invite them if I'm speaking somewhere, or I like to spend time with them. But I'm in October 3rd through the 7th. I'm at a retreat in Arizona. But that retreat is for personal relaxation. So it's a vegan, plant-based retreat that I'm super excited about. And it's actually downtime in the midst of the chaos, right? And so prioritizing pleasure is super, super important. Sometimes we do it after the busyness. We're like, oh, as soon as all of this is over, I'm gonna take a vacation, or I'm gonna take a week off, or whatever. But I'm like, let's just see what happens if we drop pleasure in the middle of the chaos. So I'm actually gonna be spending, 5 days in Sedona, just exhaling for a minute before I head to Jamaica and then the Poconos and do all of that stuff. And so prioritizing pleasure in the midst of everything, right? So that's something you can adopt for yourself as you're looking at what's coming up and thinking, man, I'm just going into this really busy space, and just assuming that you don't have the luxury or the freedom to make time for some stuff that you enjoy in the midst of it is wrong. Not to mention, I'm going into a season where a lot of people close to me, it's their birthday. Like my best friend birthday is coming up in November and all of this stuff. And we'll be planning stuff. And my birthday is coming up at the end of October. And I'm not letting any of it go. Like, I plan on being just as serious about enjoying those personal things, personal holidays, personal days, friends and family, as I am about the priorities, the work obligations. And so prioritizing pleasure, I started doing that many years ago when we were teaching Farm to Table, our plant-based coaching program, like 3 to 4 times a year. At that time, I was like, okay, I'm planning something before and after every semester just to make sure I'm rested going in and then I have a decompression period coming out. And so I've been prioritizing pleasure for years and making it a serious thing that I commit to, because it can be very dangerous to just think we're just going to work, 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 and just like a half a off day or just a single off day is going to be enough. It's often not when you're doing that much pouring out. And so that is my burnout prevention plan. I hope that was helpful for one or two of you. I don't think I have time for takeaways and Q&A today. If somebody wants to drop something in the chat really quickly, you can. If you have like a pressing question about my burnout prevention plan that I shared, I'm happy to answer it really quickly. And if you haven't already, click the link that's pinned in the show notes. I keep saying show notes on here. That's pinned in the comments to take our mini stress assessment. So one of the things we're doing to help people recognize whether or not they're dealing with stress, chronic stress, burnout, is we created a science-backed assessment based on what's the scientific evidence is showing are the top markers of stress, physiologically, behaviorally, lifestyle-wise. And so we've put that all into a mini assessment for you. And so click the link in the comments to take our mini stress assessment over at Clarity. It will be a great place for you to start to get an idea of whether or not things are getting out of hand for you, because burnout is a form of chronic stress. And then once you take our mini stress assessment, you have the opportunity to get on our wait list for Clarity. That's going to open up next month. It's our third iteration of Clarity. And I'm super excited about walking entrepreneurs, leaders, you high performing individuals through eliminating chronic stress, that we can all do this collectively and make it a thing. We have to stop embodying stress and start embodying peace. And so I have a special framework and system that I use to help you guys do that. So click the link in the comments, take our mini stress assessment to kickstart that journey for yourself. It doesn't cost anything, but we need to know where we stand with this stuff. Let's see. Wanda says, when is your birthday? I'm the day before yours, Wanda. You're on Halloween. I'm on Angels Night. So October 30th, hence my middle name. Stacy, the power in asking for help before you need it. Come on now. The word power sticks out to me. Asking for help is not a weakness for me, but I am going to see it as a privilege that I can even have those I can ask. You are 100% correct. It's a privilege to have people that you can ask for help from. Super dope. Okay, this was great, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you back here next Monday for another Monday morning keynote with yours truly. And of course, I will keep you guys posted throughout the remainder of this year on how I'm doing with my burnout prevention plan, what's going well and what's going even better. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Scorpio Rules says, Jeff's return from 7 days in Sedona. I'm still suspended. I love it. I love it. Sedona is so beautiful. Every time I go there, I'm just like, oh, God is amazing. Okay, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. It's been super fun. I will see you guys next Monday, and share this with somebody who needs a burnout prevention plan and doing too much. Okay, tell them to start trusting God if they don't do nothing else. Bye, y'all.